kind of shifting to a global focus in the last 6 months, really, with Asia. And I just want to say that the more I'm giving it away, the more God's just bringing leaders in. We've seen the harvest engagement triple in the last 4 months. You know, Chuck Wood was like, you need to do 3 intensives in 6 months. And I was like, dude, what? And God's really used that to solidify. Networks come in Clarkston with a No Place Left Clarkston vision. Their vision is to put a church in every apartment community, and they're seeing it happen. I mean, they're literally almost done knocking on every door in every apartment community in Clarkston. And then the team in Marietta, we had a couple guys get married and kind of some just seasons of waiting, you know, with marriage there. And now they're restarting that church and re-engaging, and God's gathering the team up in Marietta. And I look down in Midtown, and we've got a church that some of you guys with NPL Army helped start that's continuing to grow, and they want to start. I asked the Lord for 3 residencies to get on the calendar by March 31st, and we've seen about 4 get on the calendar. 2 that are most definitely going to happen, and then 2 that are like they're still figuring out exactly who and where, but they're committed to doing it. And then you look at the churches in the city, the legacy churches that are really leaning in, and you know we've been asked to be on the training team with the largest association in the city, and just a lot of open doors to train all over the place and leaning in there. So engagement among Latinos, internationals, refugees, I mean, and just really getting some laborers now for the African American community, which is really great. Just folks who really are doing that. We've got about 4 African American pastors that are just like really running with a No Place Left plan and have a team and are really committed. And so as I look at the city, there's more people hearing the gospel today than ever before. And now we're asking the question, how do we shift towards really becoming a hub for long-term sending? But you know, we're starting with some short-term stuff. So I'm taking a couple guys from the city with me. We're going to do 4 intensives over a month in Asia, in India, and Cambodia, and Vietnam next month. And these are guys who've been through 3 intensives with me so far. So I'm really seeing some training capacity raise up. And then I've got guys like Andy who are just drilling into the harvest and just every day seeing households come to faith. And just that's been a real catalyst for the rest of the city as we post that in GroupMe, and they're just seeing all these people getting baptized and coming to Christ. It's been hard to keep up. There's stuff happening, there's trainings happening that I don't have anything to do with now, you know, that are all over the city, and that's always encouraging to see. And especially given the focus that the Lord's had me on personally, and just helping with some of the global stuff with E3. I feel like I've been thinking about that a lot. But then all this stuff started happening in the city. It's like the Lord just doesn't need me, you know. I'm just releasing to these guys. So that's really exciting to see. I think in Atlanta, I'd say I'll pick a local stuckage and a global stuckage. I think the local stuckage is getting to sustainable church still. I mean, we're just seeing churches pop up and go away, pop up and go away. We've never really gotten to elder appointment. And so that's a definite stuckage. So the Gen Zero churches are sticking around and staying pretty strong for seasons, but then the ones that are coming out of the harvest, we're stuck seeing them really last in most parts of the city. And so that means we've seen some 2nd, 3rd generation churches and disciples, but we're very quickly taking them off the diagram. So I'd say that's where we're stuck harvest-wise. I think the global piece and the training piece, I feel stuck with the administrative capacity, and just gathering meetings and communicating vision and managing funds and defining training strategy and planning who's where and what. And so I think the Lord's providing answers to that, but I know it's something that's heavy on my heart. And then if I was to pick kind of one for NPL, I think it's really coming up with what does unity look like across networks, and how do we work together and avoid challenges that relate to either the financial or the hey, my practice versus your practice argument, or that's the guy I'm coaching, don't hands off kind of thing. So those are the 3 things I see causing division that have really kind of been weighing on me a little bit as we look at the coalition. So cool. So anyway, Love you guys. God is really at work in Atlanta, and I'm just blown away. And people are catching the global vision too, and are seeing the city as a gateway to the nations. And when we say we're asking the Lord for 200,000 laborers, seed sowers in the city. We're just using 5 levels as a vision cast. We've got 2,000 who are uninvitable to church. We also have 2,000 who are in church on a regular basis, according to NAM in Atlanta. So whether we see the 10% who are Christians become seed sowers, or we say we need 10% of the uninvitables to start proclaiming the gospel, it's the same number. It's 200,000 seed sowers. So we need 20,000 church planters, and that's right about what we need to engage lostness in Atlanta as well. But it's also that 10% of the seed sowers that become church planters. So we need 20,000 church planters, and we need 2,000 CPMers. We need 200 movement trainers. We need 20 SCs. And one thing that's kind of cool is it's been bivocational leaders mostly until like this year, and God's brought in about 15 full-timers who are just pounding the harvest, and asking for coaching and are fully in with. So it's missions organizations that are kind of saying we want to come under No Place Left, and we want to do what we kind of see. We want to do what we see E3 doing in terms of submitting to the No Place Left vision and being a small part of that, and kind of saying, hey, show us how to do that with our missions organization. We want to run a local play for the sake of sending short-term, long-term workers to the nations. And so those guys have been super easy to work with because they've already got this global vision, and then starting to see some long-term workers sent from No Place Left through churches like Johnson Ferry, kind of like you guys are doing at Woodstock. I mean, Garrett and Fred had a touch with Johnson Ferry that really got them started. I mean, it was Nathan Shank that really got them thinking about it, and then Garrett and Fred kind of kicked them out the door and got them knocking on doors. And then Troy and I have gotten to really help them solidify their training strategy, and they just trained 5,000 members on 3 circles on Sunday, and they're seeing people come to Christ. So even large legacy churches in the city kind of planting a flag and saying we want to reach the local area, and now we're starting to have conversations about residency and sending long-term workers. So that's an exciting piece. And then the Noonday Association committing to a rhythm of coaching for pastors. So we've got NAM pastors saying, hey, we want to start a residency, and we want to coach other pastors to do the same thing. And it came full circle for me personally at this 4-day when one of the pastors I grew up with, they had a church split, he started a new one, and he brought his team to the 4-day, and he saw the Father's heart and goes, holy cow, how have I missed this for all these years? And then the NAM guy that I'd been coaching says, hey, I want to train your church. I was like, wow, my worlds just collided. The guy I grew up with and this guy from Clarkston is going to train him. And those relationships are now happening. And so I'm encouraged by the 4-day. We're going to have the Vias come in and do an intensive a mid-level with us in Atlanta, and then I'll be in Asia 3 months this year training, just trying to raise up national training. So we're just trying to bring folks from the city and from NPL to get some experience. So that's some of what God's doing, and I'm excited. I'm very excited.